Well, guys, if I seem a little bit low on energy today, it's because I am. I started feeling a little bit under the weather yesterday, and then I woke up at my normal time this morning, felt like absolute trash, so I made myself sleep an extra hour and a half. But we're still gonna send it. I can't just sit around all day and do nothing. There's probably two different reasons why I'm starting to get sick. Number one, I think you guys know I'm a big advocate of wearing shorts all the time, even when it's like -8 degrees out. So that is probably reason number one. Reason number two, probably because all the sanding dust that's always in the air in my shop as of recently with sanding down this freaking STI. Even though you wear a mask when you're sanding, being that it's still the same workspace when I'm like doing the rest of the work on the car, that sanding dust is just nonstop in the air. And of course, I'm not going to just sit there and wear a mask all freaking day. So those two factors combined is probably what's going on with me, but I'm still going to get as much done as I can today. So I'm going to cook up some good old eggs and hop in the truck and do a good old rip ski to the shop. And the steering rack rebuild kit should show up today. At minimum, I want to get that done, get the rack back in the car. Shifter linkage isn't going to be until Monday, so I'll probably just do a quick reassembly. That's easy to take care of later on. And then if we can get around to like doing either wheels or calipers today, I just need to get this car done. If I was feeling like 100%, I would just knock out both. Wheels, calipers, get everything done so we can just be done with this freaking budget build is essentially what it is, because I've put maybe $1,500 into it with the wrap. Had to order new headlights, a couple other minuscule parts. Definitely a budget build. But if we could just get this budget build done, enjoy it a little bit, and get her to a new home, move back to the Evo 8 project is the goal. I do need to pick up, actually I'm glad I just now thought of this. On the way to the shop this morning, I'm going to swing by a parts store and grab my red line cocktail for the trans. I want to get that swapped out as well. Get all the fluids on this whole entire thing changed. Even though it's a budget build, you still gotta keep up on maintenance, you know. Let's go show the boys how funny you look. Bobby loves to shave her cats like lions. This is the chunky one. She got a big belly on her, but these things get so much hair all over the freaking house. So that's the reason for shaving these things. So that's how Bane looks. Let me grab Coda. This is how Coda looks. What? You don't like how you look? Oh, you're cold. Oh, sleepy boy. Well, clearly my brain ain't working all that hot because I completely spaced getting my gear oil, but that's fine. These tires are a little bit more stretched than I would prefer. It's a 225 on a 9.5 inch wide wheel. 245 or 255 would be a little bit, or quite a bit better of a fit, but for the budget build, these guys will work fine. Oh, hopefully these things dismount easy. I would say that's a fairly efficient dismount. Holy crap, why are rep wheels so heavy? There is a good deal amount of curbing on some of these. Not a good deal, it's kind of around the whole thing, but it's very thin. So what I'm gonna do is start off with a 36 grit and smooth it out. Move on to an 80 grit disc. And finish it off with this brown Scotch-Brite disc. Now they're not perfect, but for the budget build, they're about 100 times better than what they were. Next stop for these wheels is the acid bath, or the powder coat strip tank. Whatever you want to call it. Running a little low. Alrighty, well those wheels, well individually they have to go in the powder coat strip tank for an hour apiece, so that totals 4 hours if we do some quick math. let's see if we can get this rack rebuilt. So the rack rebuild kit, or the seal kit, just arrived, part number 34190AG001. And being that it's an OEM Subaru and they ordered it off the VIN of the car, I don't know why this wouldn't be the ticket. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 seals, 1 O-ring, and 1 little plastic spacer. And this already looks a million times better than what our previous kit was, which was that junky Gates kit. And then it does, what else does it include? Is that it? It does include the OEM clamps. That's pretty snazzy. Let's see if my brain will function enough to allow us to get this thing rebuilt and get it back on the car. So there's that, there's that. I like how Subaru gives you the seals you'll actually need. The Gates kit had about 800 seals in it. 99% of them I would not be using at all. So that's pretty sweet. Definitely gonna be living off some boosted coffee today. Alrighty, how does this go? So these 2 seals right here with the green on the inner lip, these are for the rack shaft itself, okay? I understand that. This is a little spacer that goes down inside of the rack, which I already put the old one back in, but let's pop her back out. This guy right here, so that makes sense. And then we have this seal right here that goes down in there. This seal right here that goes down in there. And then we have 3 O-rings that I have yet to figure out where those go, but I will figure it out. Let's get the shaft lubed up and get this first seal installed. We gotta be pretty careful going over the teeth on this side so we don't tear the seal. So it goes there. Then our little plastic collar goes on. Now I do want to get some grease on the teeth here, because this side does not get lubed by the fluid. That's what the seal's for, to block off the power steering fluid from entering that side. So now we can go ahead and get this installed. So we got that inner seal all the way in. You use the steering rack shaft itself to pull it through. And now we're gonna go ahead and get this side seal installed. Toss some grease on her as well. As soon as that seal is in, this retainer for the seal, so it doesn't pop back out, goes on. So I got that seal for this replaced. Now let's lube this guy up. She should move freely, and it does. This O-ring right here gets replaced with this big one there. Alrighty, all that is left is the tie rods. I did not know the boots were different, but they are. One is smaller. The driver's side is smaller. I was not aware. Just to make sure we get those inner tie rods tightened all the way, I'm gonna tighten them while this rack is on the car. Okay, that'd be the best move. Rack is on. Let's hope we did a quality, efficient rebuild and it does not leak. Okay, so I have 2 bolts holding the rack in. Lines are on, lines are tight. I'm gonna go ahead and add power steering fluid. Dust boots are off. And I just wanna confirm that nothing leaks before we spend another hour completely buttoning everything up. We should be good, but just in case. Always good to double check. This thing turned out sick. Can we all agree that this thing turned out sick? A Subaru takes ATF, but let's fill up the reservoir, crank the wheel a couple times and see what happens. We may need to fire it up so the pump can pressurize some things. I'm gonna try it with it not running first. See if anything leaks. All right, no leaks yet. So I suppose the next step would be to start the engine. So our power steering pump is active. We should be in the clear. I do not see any leaks, which of course is what we're after. Hello guys. It is about 24 hours later. I went home early, obviously yesterday, and I went to sleep. And now it's like I said, 24 hours later, and I woke up and I thought to myself for a minute, I said, even though I feel like absolute trash, am I gonna die? The answer was no. So here we are, back at the shop. A couple things to note. Let me get some wheels in the oven and we can talk about some things. I guess I need some gloves. So I came back to a leaky power steering rack, which is not ideal, of course. I'm not going to attempt to fix it. I'm just gonna go get a used one, replace it, and be done with that whole steering rack saga. So that's annoying, but it is what it is. Trying to work when you're extremely sick doesn't really work out all that well. And another ridiculous thing is, of course, yesterday I was planning on getting these wheels powder coated. So usually when I do that, I'll crank up the oven in the morning. So by the time I'm ready to go, the oven's warm, this rack here is warm, everything's all warmed up, ready to go. And being like completely out of it yesterday, which I feel like I'm a little less out of it now, I left the oven on overnight. So the oven was on for 24 hours straight. I mean, at least it's nice and preheated now, but that's a little bit hairy. Thankfully, it wasn't all that warm. It was at 170 degrees or something. So nothing crazy, but still not the smartest thing in the world. So let's get these wheels in the oven. I just got them sandblasted. Crazy how like messed up my joints feel right now. Just so freaking sore, man. Can't even bend over to pick up a wheel, it feels like. But let's get these guys in the oven for their pre-bake cycle, and I'm gonna head out in the truck and go pick up a steering rack. Today's most definitely not gonna be one of those crazy productive days, but if we can at least get these wheels powdered, tires mounted, and back on the car, that would be a huge step in the right direction for this budget build. Let's let those guys bake out and go grab this rack. It's what I should have done from the start if I'm thinking back. The rebuild kit was $100. Spent a week waiting for the rebuild kit. We bought the initial rebuild kit, the Gates one that wasn't even the right one. That was probably $80, and you can just buy a used rack for $250 is what I'm paying. Of course, in my mind, I was like, if I can save $70, I may as well, but it was not worth it. I'm sure if I had a clear brain, I could have rebuilt this one. I bet when I was putting that through, it tore the seal. This is the side with the teeth on it, so it probably just tore the seal a bit. And yep, she's a leaker. Our new used rack has been acquired. Let's yank our leaky one out of here and get them swapped. If you have to replace your steering rack, it's much, much easier to remove the lines from down here instead of up there. Actually, you know what? That may be false information. If you just drop the rack down like that and do the lines last, it looks like that might be the move. And also you can use the sway bar. It has this little U right here. Use that as like a hook so the rack don't fall all the way out. Okay, old rack is out. I've debated trying to rebuild it again and like sell it or something, but let's be honest, it'll probably continue leaking, so I think it's best it goes in the dumpster. Okay, the steering rack is in and all finished up. Now I thought this might be the case, but all of our fake bolts on our stick wheels, these things are melted because they're plastic, and so they gotta come out. Not the biggest deal in the world. It just won't look quite as cool, you know? I powder coated a set of wheels like this a couple years back, set of reps with fake bolts, and same thing happened. So I kind of knew it was coming. I'm sure if I really cared, I could probably just message Idahan and say, yo, sell me a set of fake bolts. I think they're gonna look just fine without the fake bolts. So let's slap down some gloss black powder called ink black. I think it's gonna be the right color of choice. And see how they look finished up. All right, we need to check the steering angle sensor real quick. So I'm gonna use my little mini Autel and plug in. This thing is Bluetooth, so it's gonna be very handy for something like this. So I have the OBD2 VCI plugged in, and I'm gonna go into, let's see here, go to diagnostics, control unit, and the ABS system, live data, and it should be in here. Scroll down. All right, I finally found it. It is in the TCM. So as of right now, it shows, as you can see, negative 256 degrees. So we are way off. That is gonna throw, of course, an ABS light, which we do not want. So let's go underneath the car. Now I had the old steering rack marked with our steering column, but that of course does not do us any sort of good. So I'm gonna disconnect the steering column from the rack, and I'm gonna spin it while looking at the tail. Make sure we go the right way. I'm gonna try to get it as close to zero as possible, and then I will make minor adjustments in the cabin. I'm sure there's probably easier ways to go about this, but in my mind, in my non-functioning mind right now, that makes the most sense. I could be way off. Well, I ran into a little bit of a hiccup. I was running out of ink black, so the barrels are blackjack, a flat black, and the faces, the outside, is ink black. You know what, they still look really nice. So there's the back side, the blackjack, and here's the front side, which is the ink black. I'm gonna put these things outside. It's very, very cold outside, and that should help them cool down quite a bit faster. I wanna get them back on the car tonight. Ah, that feels nice. As we wait for those wheels to cool down, let's go ahead and take care of the center caps. These things are poop brown. So what I'm gonna do, just grab a little piece of gray Scotch-Brite, scuff them up, and of course we cannot powder coat these, being that they're plastic. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of painting on them. Scotch-Brite works good, helps you get down inside the letters a little bit easier versus a traditional sandpaper. I'm hoping I have a gloss black here. I think I do. If not, satin black or a flat black might look all right. Couple of light coats on these guys, we should be in business. Man, I hate to disappoint, but we are not gonna get this thing done tonight. I would rather go home a little bit early and cure myself of this whatever the heck is going on with me and have a good full day tomorrow, not to mention next week, versus grind it out and potentially make it even worse. So, at minimum, I suppose we could just toss on, let's do it on the other side. Toss on some wheels and see how it looks. See if the all black was the move, which I don't know why it wouldn't be. Okay. Dang, I really want to see it on the ground. Zoom in for you boys. What do you think? Was that the move? We need a really poppy color of calipers, what I'm thinking. I know a lot of you guys said red. A lot of you guys said like the new fluorescent yellow from the STI, which that would kind of keep it original STI, you know, if we did the 8 or a 19 plus STI Brembo caliper color. In fact, that'd be pretty sick. I'm kind of leaning toward that, if I'm being honest. The newer STI Brembo color. I wonder if I can find replacement plastic fake freaking bolts for these things. If I can't, it's not a big deal, but where's my phone? Might have to order a nice set of lugs too. The chromies we got on here were for this car are quite rusty. 120 piece black plastic wheel rivet. $36. Well, even though I probably should have taken the day off, it was nice to get out of the house for a couple hours. Wheels are done, power steering's done. I need to get some ATF tomorrow to dump back in this reservoir, but I'm confident that this rack isn't gonna leak because it would have been quite noticeable when I picked it up. And yeah, we should be good. I need the shifter linkage. That comes in Monday. And other than that, this thing is pretty much freaking done. A couple other little things here and there. Behind the grill on the bumper, how it's painted white. I don't like that because you can very, very clearly see that behind the wide open mesh grill. And then the mirror caps, how they're white around the camo, that should be black. So a couple of little things like that I'll probably button up one of these days. But yeah, coming to an end. It's taking a little bit longer than expected, of course, with the power steering issues and then getting sick as heck, but ain't nothing but a thing. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm gonna wrap it up here, and provided that I feel well enough, tomorrow should be a good day. I'm excited to get back to work on the Evo as well. Still waiting on my radiator though. I figured that'd be in by now.